First off, we have a press conference about the actual shootings themselves. Some new details that this guy visited 2 other households, had previous contact with the New Hope Police Department, and was let go before he even showed up and killed the Hortmans. And then there's a lot of questionable details about what went on at the Hortman house, how the cop showed up before he killed Melissa Hortman and her husband, or during. I mean, it's pretty up in the air.
In the early morning hours of June 14th, Boelter went to the homes of 4 Minnesota state politicians with the intent to kill them. Boelter first traveled to the home of Minnesota State Senator John Hoffman in Champlin, Minnesota. Boelter arrived at the senator's home disguised as a police officer. He arrived in a black SUV with emergency lights turned on and with a license plate that read police. Boelter wore a black tactical vest and body armor. He carried a flashlight and a Beretta 9mm handgun. He also wore a hyper-realistic silicone mask. Senator Hoffman had a security camera. I've seen the footage from that camera, and it is chilling. Boelter knocked on Senator Hoffman's front door and repeatedly shouted, "This is the police, open the door." Senator Hoffman and his wife, Yvette, came to the door. When they opened the door, Boelter shined the flashlight in their faces and said there had been a shooting reported in the house. Boelter asked if they had any weapons. When Boelter lowered his flashlight, which he had shined in their face, they realized that he was not a police officer. They shouted out, "You're not a cop. You're not a police officer." Boelter then announced, "This is a robbery," and forced himself into their home. When Senator Hoffman attempted to push Boelter out and stop him from entering his home, Boelter shot him repeatedly. Boelter then shot Miss Hoffman repeatedly. Boelter fled the scene, and the Hoffman's daughter called 911.
See, now this is weird because there were some reports about the mother like jumping on her daughter or something and protecting her from being shot, but he didn't mention anything about that. But dude, showing up like a cop, that stuff is so chilling. It's so devious. You know, most people, if the cops show up at your door, 9 times out of 10, you're going to open the door because there's a risk there. If you say, "No, I'm not opening the door," and they are the real cops, then you're putting yourself in a precarious situation. It is literally like the dirtiest of the dirty type trust breaches, you know?
After shooting Senator Hoffman and his wife, Boelter traveled to the home of another Minnesota state representative in Maple Grove, Minnesota. Video surveillance showed that Boelter rang the doorbell at the state representative's house at approximately 2:24 a.m. on Friday night.
See, you may have noticed at the beginning of this, he said he went to 4 politicians' houses. That's pretty fucking crazy.
Carrying a handgun and a flashlight and wearing that same hyper-realistic silicone mask. Again, the images, as you can see on the screen, are haunting. Now, fortunately, the state representative was not home. She and her family were gone on vacation.
Oh my God, it's another woman, dude. They were gone on vacation. They weren't home. Then he went to the home of a New Hope senator, also unnamed. Oh shit, bro. Dude, he went to 4 houses. There were 2 other like groups of people. This guy is a fucking whack job, man.
And so Boelter left. Boelter then traveled to the home of a Minnesota state senator who lived in New Hope, Minnesota. He parked in the street in that same black SUV with the police license plate. At about 2:36 a.m. on Friday night, after learning of the shooting of Senator Hoffman, New Hope police dispatched an officer to conduct a wellness check on the state senator who lived in New Hope. When the New Hope officer arrived at the scene, she saw Boelter's black SUV parked down the block with the lights on. The New Hope police officer believed that Boelter was a police officer who had been dispatched to the scene to check on the status of the state senator.
Oh my God.
The New Hope police officer pulled up next to Boelter in his car, rolled down her window, and attempted to speak with him. Boelter did not respond. According to the officer, he just sat there and stared straight ahead. So the New Hope police officer, who had been dispatched to the scene, proceeded to the state senator's home, and she waited for other law enforcement to arrive. When they did, by the time they did, Boelter had left the scene.
Dude, what the f, bro? You know what I mean? There was a shooting of a state senator. A New Hope police person goes and sees a guy, but the fact that a cop would go and ask him, are you here? Are you dispatch? Are you checking the senator? And he just doesn't say anything, and the cop just pulls away? Like, dude, are we talking about the least fucking competent police officers? What kind of Mickey Mouse fucking town is this place, bro? Like, bro, if the guy was holding a protest sign, they would have fucking pointed a cannon at his goddamn head and threatened to kill his firstborn. But if you're impersonating a cop and you just stare straight ahead, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, somebody was just murdered, and I don't know who the fuck you are, but I'm gonna go ahead and just leave you here. Like, dude, this is like clown world level policing. If he had been black, she probably would have put 2 in his temple, bro. Jesus Christ. Dude, I'm sorry, but no offense there, but let me just tell you, buddy, you're not making me hate cops any less.
Boelter then traveled to Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, in the home of Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman. At approximately 3:30 a.m., Boelter arrived at Representative Hortman's house in his black SUV with the police license plates. He parked in the driveway and left the emergency lights on his SUV flashing, as if he was a police officer. Boelter approached Representative Hortman's home, again dressed as a police officer, wearing the tactical vest and body armor, and wearing that hyper-realistic mask. He was armed and carrying a flashlight. Before he entered the home, 2 Brooklyn Park police officers arrived at the scene.
Dude, no, before? Now they're saying before he entered the home. The cop showed up. Before. I mean, are you shitting me? Like,
they too had been dispatched to check on Representative Hortman after learning of the shooting of Senator Hoffman. When they arrived at the scene, they saw Boelter's black SUV parked in the driveway with the emergency lights flashing, and they saw Boelter standing in front of the house several feet from the door.
There is a photo here. This is the guy, presumably with his flashlight on, standing outside like it's a shot from a body cam or something. This is the Hortman house. It said that this is a photo from the federal complaint against Vance Boelter, and they had it circled there.
When Boelter saw the officers get out of the car, he drew his weapon and began firing. He rushed into the house through the front door, firing into it. He repeatedly fired into the house, and when he entered, he murdered Representative Hortman and her husband, Mark. The Brooklyn Park police officers fired at Boelter as he rushed into the home, but he escaped into the home and out the back.
So they're like, what the fuck, bro? He shot at them. They shot at him. He shoots the door, barges in, and they didn't go rushing in there like after him. He had time to kill both people. The original report was he was coming out of the house, having done the deed. He shot at the cops and went back in the house. But now he's saying he hadn't gone in the house. You know, they didn't run in there after him. Like, what the fuck, bro?
Officers recovered Boelter's 9mm Beretta, along with the body armor and the mask, behind the home along his path of flight when he fled on foot. They later searched Boelter's car, where they found 5 more firearms, including assault-style rifles and a large quantity of ammunition. Boelter also had in his car notebooks containing a list of more than 45 Minnesota state and federal elected officials, including Representative Hortman. Now, Boelter planned his attack carefully. He researched his victims and their families. He used the internet and other tools to find their addresses and names, the names of their family members. He conducted surveillance of their homes and took notes about the location of their homes. He also prepared in other ways. He concealed himself as a police officer, outfitting his black SUV with police lights and a police license plate, wearing a black tactical vest and body armor, carrying a police flashlight and a handgun. And of course he wore that hyper-realistic silicone mask as seen on the surveillance videos. The video of his arrival and shooting of Senator Hortman is truly chilling. Again, it's no exaggeration to say this is the stuff of nightmares.
There is a group of photos here. There's the face mask, okay, which ostensibly is a mask that looks like this. Talk about super creepy. Jesus. But they recovered the face mask in the backyard, right? There is the 9mm Beretta, okay, that was also recovered in the backyard when he fled the Hortman house. Then there are the journals that just had pages and pages of screed on there, right? The fact that like truepeoplesearch.com is finding all this information on those buy information websites, which are pretty bad. I've gotten doxxed back when I was a famous Fortnite guy. A lot of bad shit happened to me with people buying my information off that stuff. We might want to rethink like those types of companies existing. But look at this shit. This is his car. Look at these fucking weapons he had. Looks like he's got a roll of duct tape. He's got his phone. He's got a lot of guns. Fucking AK-47s, like short barrel. Like, dude, this guy was armed to the hilt, man. Jesus Christ. It's like, what in the actual fuck, bro? Right? And then, of course, there's the top shelf police license plate.
Do we know how he got from Brooklyn Park to Minneapolis? Was it on foot?
I don't know the answer to that.
Can we offer clarity about the state charges concurrent with the federal charges? How does that all work?
Dude, why are these reporters not asking about the details of the Hortman murder? Like, what the fuck? Who are these reporters? They're asking, let me ask you a question about the charges. It's like, is there anybody in that room who is like, just for clarification, you're saying 2 Brooklyn police officers watched him go into the house after shooting at them, and they gave him enough time to murder 2 people and escape out the back door without them doing anything about it? Like, what? Dude, I am like incensed watching this, bro. It's like, who are these fucking reporters, dude?
Talking about this interaction with the New Hope police. What had law enforcement been told at that point? Were they aware to be on the lookout for a dark SUV that resembled a police vehicle?
I don't know. I can turn that. I don't know if one of my colleagues here know. I know that they had heard about the shooting of Senator Hortman and being the diligent law enforcement they were, knowing that they had elected officials living in their communities, they went out to do a wellness check. I don't know more than that.
You know, what I can say, and as you can, I don't know the specifics of the question and what on that, whether it is. What I will tell you is that Hennepin County law enforcement working together at that time knew of that, and so as the different jurisdictions were on duty, some of them did proactive. You know, as you've heard from Chief Bruley on this.
Dude, the fucking, all I can say is Brooklyn, Minnesota, Brooklyn PD. If you live there, you should pack your shit and find a new community, because apparently if people fire guns at them outside a house, they're going to let the guy stroll in and just put you in the grave and let the dude run out the back and shit while they're, I don't know, eating a bear claw or some shit waiting for backup.
Maple Grove, for example, or in Brooklyn Park, for example, they went out proactively to check on the status and the well-being, and that's how we encountered this and prevented additional attacks, which we believe certainly could have occurred from occurring. So we don't know the specifics on the New Hope as to what they were doing, but they were tracking the shooting that happened, and so several of them were being proactive in checking on various people that they knew resided in their city.
So did he shoot at the officers in Brooklyn, or the Brooklyn Park officers that responded? Did he shoot at them, or was he shooting into the house and they kind of like chased him into the house?
My understanding is it's unclear at the moment whether or not he shot at them. It's possible that he did. It's not clear. Obviously, it was a chaotic scene.
And was he wearing the mask when the New Hope officer interacted with him?
I believe he was, although I can't say for certain.
Oh my God. Oh my God, dude. The New Hope officer, he said he believes he was wearing the latex mask when the cop from New Hope showed up and asked him what he was doing, and he just didn't respond. Dude, there's no fucking way, bro. Dude, defund, okay? Defund! Dude, we gotta defund these motherfuckers.
What's your message to Minnesotans who may get a late night knock on the door from police if something's going on in their communities? I mean, can you just speak on that?
I'm going to let law enforcement handle that one. I don't know if someone... Sure. Please.
Good morning, Police Chief Mark Bruley, Brooklyn Park Police Department. Great question. Like we sent out a
Dude,
message.
wait, what police department is this guy from? Dude, here we go. Yeah, let's get law enforcement in here so we can say, you know what? If a gunman's outside your house, we're going to let him go in and murder you. But if you hold up a protest sign, we are going to put a howitzer to the back of your head and fucking light it up. Oh! You know, Jesus.
Good morning, Police Chief Mark Bruley, Brooklyn Park Police Department. Great question.
Oh my God, this is the police chief of Brooklyn Park. This is the police chief of the police who let Hortman, die. Oh, fucking A, bro. Let's get this guy. Here we go.
Please.
Good morning, Police Chief Mark Bruley, Brooklyn Park Police Department. Great question. Like we sent out a message to our community when this first occurred is you always can call 911 and verify if the person at your door is a police officer. If they are a working police officer, they will be connected to a dispatch center that can validate that. So the first thing I would do is if you're concerned about it, is call 911.
Dude, Major Thumb reporting. Dude, that just broke me. You may have seen me smiling there, dude. Major Thumb reporting for duty. It's true. It's they always do, bro. Dude, men who fucking lose their hair, a lot of them don't react well to it. So they end up taking jobs that allow them to murder people. This is the curse of the thumb, dude. It's true. It's a real problem. We'd have a better world if we could just teach men that losing your hair ain't a big thing. You know what I'm saying? Dude, this guy does look like the mask, dude. Maybe the New Hope person saw the guy with the latex mask. She rolled up and she's like, oh, that's just the Brooklyn police chief. Dude, having a bad day. It's not a latex head. He just had too many bear claws. He's a little sweaty. Oh my God.
Can you clarify the shooting stuff? Because we were told, I believe, that the person in custody did shoot at police at the Hortman residence. That's an important detail.
Now, why isn't the police chief answering this question? Why did the police chief duck out, bro?
Yeah, so I'll answer this again. That's part of the active investigation, and I know there's been a lot that's going on, but as any time law enforcement uses deadly force, there's a walled-off separate investigation to examine that. At that time, I will tell you, we still work through. We are gathering evidence when we go through. This happened incredibly fast. What I can tell you is the police officers that were there on scene, that while they were assessing the situation, that the gunfire erupted. And we are still working through and reconstructing that crime scene. We've gathered all of the evidence related to that. And what was said there is that this is definitely happening very quickly. And we definitely know that he began shooting at the Hortmans, as will be detailed in this information, immediately once the officers were assessing the situation. Whether or not that the gunfire was returned at the officer or not. We are working through that, and we need to recreate the crime scene itself.
So, yeah, I mean, I'll give them that there's probably not a lot of clarity. I get it that it may take them some time to sort out because they show up, a bunch of gunfire rings out. I mean, what's crazy is it's fucking possible that the Hortmans were like at the door, right? You know, it's dark. It's fucking 3:30 in the morning, right? These guys roll up. I mean, I'm sure we're going to get more information about it, but like, dude, this shit it's just wacky, man. This shit is wacky, bro.
But, and I should say, I want to say, like, in that process, the gunfire was erupting in such a way all around that is partly why with the reasonable interpretation on some of those is where that came from initially.
See, what's interesting about this with the gunfire erupting is you have to wonder, did the Brooklyn cops shoot the Hortmans? Right? Like, were they coming to the door to answer the door as this guy was standing there? The cops roll up and he fucking pulls out a gun, gunfire erupts. I mean, there is a possibility that this is being sort of like, you know, well, we're going to sort this out later because who knows what happened, or they opened the door. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, him firing shots at the cops, him turning his back and firing gunshots into the door. Where are the Hortmans? I saw something else that I think he shot their dog. I mean, there's going to be more information coming on this for sure. We're going to hear some more shit that may end up getting gnarly. That press conference was batty. I mean, I feel like I have more questions than answers after the press conference. So it's going to be interesting to see how this story unfolds. But the fact that multiple police officers interfaced with this guy before the killing of Melissa Hortman is a little concerning. I mean, you know, there's obviously some fundamental issues with the way policing is going down in this country, with the unreliability of them in many, many, many instances, and the sheer overreaction coming from them when they're interfacing with, you know, your average citizen who's not wearing a latex mask, with a fucking handgun, or with a car with like fake police license plates. Like, goddamn, bro, I get pulled over for not using my turn signal, and the cops ready to like shake me down and put a baton up my ass. But if I had a latex mask on and had fake cop plates in Minnesota and just ignored the police, they would just stroll on their way and let me drive off. I mean, that's concerning, man. There's really some concerning issues going on here. And with, you know, cops interfacing with someone impersonating a cop and not asking any questions. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.